Yes, what's happening, folks? Welcome back to Celtic Fans TV. It's starting 11 prediction time once again for tomorrow's game at Celtic Park against Hibs. We come into off the back of that 2-0 defeat to Leipzig on Tuesday night, and it was another disappointing outcome in the Champions League. And we obviously have a mountain to climb now if we're to have European football after Christmas, given how the groups played out with Shakhtar getting a point against Real Madrid the other night. But having said that, I think reflecting on it, coming into this Champions League group stage, we knew it was always going to be a huge step up for the team. A team that have never played at this level before, they've never been exposed to this level individually or collectively as a team. One or two players have played Champions League football before. It's the first time even Ange has coached in this competition. So I think given the trajectory the team's been on in the last 12, 14 months, it's pretty much been up and up, and it was never going to continue to be that, particularly at Champions League level. There was always going to be teething problems. There was always going to be a gap in quality from where we are to where we need to be if we're going to get points and wins and try and progress in the Champions League. And I think that's what we've seen play out. We've actually performed pretty well for spells in every single one of the group games, but we've obviously had chances, big chances missed, and we've obviously conceded big chances and been punished at times as well. But that's a reality at this level. And I think when you miss chances in consecutive games, it points to something deeper. And we talked about that in the full-time reaction, the full-time content on Tuesday night, that it looks like the players just have a bit of a mental block at this level, like lack of conviction and lack of belief to take chances and score goals. And that was what happened the other night again. Today, Martin was at the press conference with Cameron Carter-Vickers and Ange Postecoglou. You can see full video coverage of that on Celtic FC's official YouTube channel. I thought Ange was really, really good today in the press conference. He obviously dealt with Alistair Lamon's question about Scottish teams basically really struggling in Europe this season, and what is the benefit of being at this level when you take so many heavy defeats, or words to that effect. It was a really strange question. I thought Ange dealt with it brilliantly. And as I said there, he was keen to point out that this is early days, and it's going to be a process for the team to develop and compete at this level. It was never going to happen overnight. And again, that's not to excuse any sort of bad performances or bad moments at any points in these games, but I think it's unrealistic to expect that we could just have strolled into the Champions League this season after 5 years out of it as a club with a team that have never played in it before, and expect to be progressing. It was never going to happen. What we've got to do is build. The team have got to learn the harsh realities of football at that level. They've got to develop, and they've got to come back stronger next season. First of all, they've got to secure qualification for next season's group stage, but then build on it and put in a better showing next season, get more points on the board, and hopefully after consecutive seasons we can see progress. There's a few questions asked today in the press conference about Maccabi Haifa, who got a good result against Juventus during the week. Club Brugge, who are doing really well in their group. Club Brugge are an example of a team who have that benefit of consecutive seasons back to back in the Champions League and have been able to develop and grow. So we hope Celtic can do that. I want Celtic, as much as the next supporter, as much as the next person at the club, to compete at that level, to sort of rebuild our reputation at that level. I know it's difficult in this day and age, the way the sport is now, but I want nothing more than for Celtic to really compete and really build back our reputation as a credible competitor at Champions League level. I really want that, but it is going to take time, and that's just the reality of it. So Hibs tomorrow. They actually had a good run there just before they got beat at Tannadice during the week. 1-0 against Dundee United. They'd won their previous 4 games. They are currently sitting third at the minute. They've played 10 games. Most other teams have only played 9. They have the highest amount of points from losing positions in the league so far this season. They've gained 5 points from losing positions. That's more than any other team so far. We do have a long unbeaten run against them. I think it's 14 games in all competitions, but there's 6 draws in there, 8 wins for Celtic and 6 draws. That's a lot of draws. I know most of those have come at Easter Road, where we've got a really poor record in recent years. But we've got to win tomorrow. We've got to use these 6 games, Martin asked both Cameron Carter-Vickers and Ange Postecoglou about that today. Maximising the points from these 6 league games in the lead up to the World Cup is absolutely massive for us. We've got some big games coming up, starting tomorrow in the league. We know we've got Shakhtar and Real Madrid to complete the group stage, but we've got to really focus on these league games now. Hibs this week, Hearts next week, Livingston the week after. Some big games coming up, big tests, and we've got to be at our highest level to get maximum points out of them. So let's get to the team then. We'll start in goals, as we always do, with Joe Hart. I think the back four will look as it did on Tuesday night there. Juranovic, Jens, Carter-Vickers and Taylor. A wee bit of debate about Juranovic. I thought he was okay for spells in the game. He puts in a lot of running, but he did really tire in the game. Whether we could see Ralston come in. I know Ralston played last weekend at St Johnstone. That is an area we can sometimes see a bit of rotation in, and it will be interesting to see in the lineup tomorrow just how much rotation there is, because again, we've played these back-to-back Champions League games last week and now this week. There was changes at St Johnstone. I'd expect there to be some changes tomorrow, but we do have injuries to deal with as well. So in midfield, I expect Matt O'Reilly is going to play in that deeper position. Again, this is something I got wrong during the week. I thought we'd see a more natural defensive midfielder that likes Abelgard come in and play in that position. It didn't happen. I don't think Matt O'Reilly looks really comfortable in that position. I don't know if it's just because he's not really played it in this system since he arrived at Celtic, but it doesn't look the most natural there. Again, maybe that'll come with games. We know he's got the quality, lots and lots of technical ability, great player, but just looks like he's got a bit of adapting to do to settle in that position. But it does look like that's what the manager wants to do. Obviously, he did it last weekend from the start at St Johnstone, in a big game during the week against a really top opponent. He put O'Reilly in there again, so I don't see any reason why he would change that tomorrow unless he wants to rest O'Reilly or change the sort of structure in midfield. I don't think he will do that, so I'm going Matt O'Reilly in a deep position. I'm going Hatate, and I'm going with Haksabanovic. It looks kind of strange to me to put those three in the starting 11 and see that set up on the pitch with Haksabanovic in a central midfield position. I don't really think that's how it's played out so far, certainly last weekend and during the week. When we were out possession the first 10-15 minutes against Leipzig, Haksabanovic was up with Kyogo pressing. I think that made it dead easy for Leipzig to get out, as we covered in the full-time reaction, because they had the extra man in midfield in Schlager. But I think Haksabanovic will play tomorrow. I think his versatility is really useful for us. He almost has a free role at times, particularly when we're in possession, we're attacking. He's free to drift over to the right-hand side and take up that attacking midfield position as well. It's sort of what you'd expect from a 10 at times, even though we're technically playing with 2-8s, as Ange has done for the majority of his time since he arrived at the club. But I think that's who will play in midfield. I think tomorrow we'll see maybe a surprise start for James Forrest on the right-hand side. Thought he did well the other night when he came on. Abada goes off early. Ange didn't say he was ruled out of the game today, but I mean, I don't really see it. He obviously took a knock, Abada, early in the game, but it came off. I don't fancy him to start tomorrow on that basis. I don't think he really looked up for it the other night at all. So I think Forrest might come in for a start. Again, there's a lot of debate there to be had about whether James Forrest really suits an Ange Postecoglou team in terms of the intensity and the pace they like to play at this stage in his career. I think he could have done it no problem 4 or 5 seasons ago, but he did look quite bright when he came on during the week, and I think because of the injuries to Jota, obviously Maeda is there as well, Haksabanovic playing in a deeper position. I think we're a wee bit limited. If Abada took a knock during the week, we're a bit limited in the wide areas. I think we'll see Forrest on the right-hand side. I think we'll see Daisen Maeda start on the left and Kyogo Furuhashi through the middle. Maeda coming in for a lot of stick again on Tuesday. I don't think he played very well in the game at all. I don't think he looks like someone who benefits from 60,000 people being on his back. I understand that people get frustrated when players aren't playing well, and there was a few frustrating moments for Maeda the other night. The wayward cross, he had that one where he jumped up and he could just have headed it, but he ducked, and then Leipzig hit us on the counter. A few really strange decisions from him during the game, but I think he's one of these players that needs backing and we need to be patient with him. We know that the roughest areas of his game are the technical ones. So he puts in the effort, he covers the ground, he's really, really quick, but he's going through a bad bit of form, as a few players are in the team. And I know that ideally a lot of you maybe wouldn't like to see him start tomorrow, but I think we're so limited in the wide areas. He will play for the left-hand side, and I expect Kyogo to start through the middle again. Himself and Yakimakis both missed big chances on Tuesday night. Kyogo with a header in the first half, Yakimakis with a header in the second half, where the defender's pulling his arm back, but the ball lands on his head. I can't believe he didn't head it. I don't think he needs. I mean, it's a penalty. If he's impeded by somebody pulling his arm back, it's a penalty. But it looks like the ball lands right in his head. I don't think he needs that left arm there just to nod it, because if he gets any sort of real contact on it, it's a goal. And then he has the one, I think it's after Leipzig's second goal, where he just takes an age to strike it. It's bouncing. He takes an age to get it down. Two big chances. So neither of the strikers covering themselves in glory the other night. I think Kyogo will start this game. We'll definitely see Yakimakis at some stage, as we always do. But that's the 11 I think the manager will go with. There's a chance I'll be a mile out with this one, because having looked at the midfield again, I think there could be a more rotation in there. We've got the likes of Abelgard there, Moy, McCarthy. Those are all players that could maybe be rotated in tomorrow, given that we're off the back of that game on Tuesday. And Ange did say in the press conference today that the physical numbers that they track game to game, the team put up some big numbers on Tuesday night just to compete and just to stay in that game at that level for that length of time. And obviously we got punished late in the game, probably when the players have tired, but what the knock-on effect of those exertions will be in terms of Ange's team selection tomorrow, we'll see about 1:45. So that's the team I think he'll go with. Like this video, comment with your own thoughts on the team below. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you tomorrow with all of the full-time content. Cheers.